Hello everybody. I said I would be doing this soon. This won't be directed at where I wanted it to do this at, but this is basically outside the back of my home here in the state of Florida in Melbourne, where I live. So I'm just doing this as a general scope, last look, because I'm not going to do this on the day this happens. I have no interest in doing this. This is like a memory to myself. I am 34 now, going on 35. I've been living here since 2016. It was July 5th of 2016, going way back in the time frame, like a good 8 years at least. These trees were not this size. They've grown quite a bit. My house has had a lot of work done on it, even if it doesn't look like it has. But this is the backyard, essentially. Just this little spiel right here from that edge line right there to, you know, from that little edge line all the way down to there to about here, like right where the tip comes on this side here. And property stops about probably mid-drift, right about here. Down here in the ground, my foot is right about right there. It goes all the way down through there, and it carries all the way up through there. So here's the scoop. Living in an HOA has sucked. These HOA representatives of this area, they are terrible. And I know why people run HOAs. They enjoy the suffering of others. And this is why I will never be a part of another HOA, or if I ever own my own property or land, or ever get to run a community, I will never have an HOA. There will be people who know what they're getting involved in, and they will have the right to do what they need to do on their own land. And they will be free to do what they need to do on their own land. I chose not to cut certain sections. Yeah, whatever. A little grassy right now. Won't be like that at the end of the days when I finally sell. But here's the truth. Everybody is basically all about themselves. Me, I'm a type of person who's like, hey man, I wish I could do more for everybody else. I wish I could help other people. How can you do that? Well, gee, I don't know. I rented out my house the past 8+ years. I thought I was helping a bunch of people who rented from me. Most of the people appreciated it, but more than half just didn't really give a dang. They didn't care at all. People just trashed the room, disrespected the rules of basic civility in a home, you know, just leaving messes for other people to deal with. You know, drawing in bugs and roaches as if Florida's not prone for that already. I mean, come on now. And then they brought him into my house. Oh, top it off, I got a guy right now who will be leaving soon. Can't say by name because I got to respect the identity of this would-be known narcissist who thinks he's better than me because he's almost in his 50s. Drinks like 4 gallons of beer per week. That's about a gallon, by the way. 1 gallon every 4 days, minimum. Now, there was an incident that happened last month where there was a little noise disturbance, and thankfully I got 2 other civilized tenants that live here. Oh, he finally gets slapped with a 7-day notice, failure to comply, and then suddenly stops drinking for like 2 weeks, but then magically he's back and doing it again. And today is the day he would have normally paid me rent, but because previously 2 months back he threatened to not pay rent, oh, surprise, surprise, we're finally on that day. So what did I have to do? Call around, get a Florida Bar of Attorneys to find out some basic info. And today marks the day 1 of the countdown. Why I'm even making this recording? Because, well, I'm a single man. I see people go by every day with their dogs. I see people go by with their kids. I'm 34. I should have kids. Have I ever cheated on a partner? No. Do I got a beautiful home that 4 bedrooms? Could I have a wife and kids? Could I have a girlfriend and kids? Sure, but after 8 years living here, yeah, that was not going to happen because there's like nobody real anymore. I mean, come on. Everyone's obsessed with their phones, their social media, their drama, their debts, their bills, their depression, their past horrible experiences. They don't have the open mind to accept anybody new. Me? I've been through all that and more. Maybe not enough to be qualified to be, I've been through a divorce, like I keep saying, which is probably an over extreme exaggeration, but definitely enough to know I've been screwed by people. People who I've trusted who got me into, I don't know, bad relationships. Bad relationships on business. I've been scammed and screwed for tens of thousands of dollars. Recently, over $100,000. Oh, but apparently the person who got me involved with that one doesn't want to really own up to that. So I guess down the road, I'll be taking my own sense of justice on my own path. Since I've been left to basically learn that other people don't need to make up for their own fucking mistakes. Because, gee, I mean, you know, being a single man and having my own home and renting out to other people who I think would appreciate what I give them, when I get to the point where I actually have money to do something with it, We'll see who's playing games with the luxury of freedom when I'm actually showing people how you're supposed to be appreciative, and those who aren't going to be qualified, out of luck. You're going to be treated just like all the other large companies that generally just don't care about people like you. Me, I do care about people. That's my problem. I care too much. What's wrong with me? I must have a heart that I literally wear on my sleeve, as people say. I even care for people who stand there, spit in my face, and tell me my family don't love me. My mother never loved me. Apparently my dad sexually assaulted me. Some crazy crap that this lunatic narcissist said to me a while back. Don't need to say name, but that's what he said. Get right up in my face. Antagonized me because I'm a Second Amendment gun owner, and got up in my face multiple times calling my 9mm a pea shooter. Well, I got something to say to that. Lucky I'm a sensible, logical person who doesn't want to throw my life away doing something stupid to get arrested, getting violent. Oh, but then he could disturb the peace in the house, and only then and up until that point do the other tenants suddenly realize, hey, landlord, that's me, has logical reason to realize that in the past, with the smart wisdom that I've had, other tenants didn't want to act when there was somebody acting unruly. But yet me, I say, hey, why do you all want to keep dealing with this crap? Well, turns out they didn't want to deal with it, but they're not going to have to go do anything anytime soon until later on when, oh, gee, I don't know, something really bad happens. I mean, this lunatic even threatened he would need a gun. You don't need a gun. All he does is drink. And he full-blown narcissistically laughs maniacally to himself as he walks by every day. Not bad enough that I learned he assaulted his last landlord and owes him close to nearly $6,100. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's literally just shy of $6,000. No, it is $6,000 to be exact, because I went through, I'm not going to deny this, I went through and I found trashed out thrown stuff that he threw away, that he shredded. It was in the trash, another man's treasure, that's me. I learned something that he did to his past landlord, and my God, did he steal so much money? $6,059, or at least that, 59, close to 60. It's like 60, 6,060. That's a weird number, I know, but it's close to it. It's just shy of a few pennies. It'd be like 1 penny maybe off, or maybe 49 cents. I don't know, whatever. It's 6,059 and 49 cents, whatever. Or 39 cents, whatever. I don't even care. Point is, how can a man who got lucky enough to have a mother that loved him, raised him, adopted him, come to find out in this world, nobody seems to care about anybody but themselves? I mean, it's not like I didn't already know people were like that. I'm not some dumb-witted, like, la. I just live in a fairy tale. No, but it's really like that. And what's really sad, there's so many single mothers out there in the world who have been raising their kids on their own, and when a good guy comes along and tries to ask, are you willing to go on a date? Are you willing to consider me as a partner, or maybe even just a boyfriend, or even just somebody you can get to know? It's like the wall barrier you can't get past, because it's always between the mother and her kids. And I understand this. I really do. I was raised by a mom who cared about me when I was adopted, because my former relatives, well, blood family speaking, they didn't do their part. So there's a reason why I was adopted. There was a good reason. And I was raised by a loving, caring, nurturing mother. And now that I have to pass on some form of caring and loving and nurturing down the road, I start to realize what few little things that people really respect and appreciate. Even people who let their family get obese and overweight, or get into drugs or criminal activities. It's like, what are you people doing in your family? Don't you realize life is so short? What are you wasting it on? Instead of being a narcissist to your neighbor, or being completely asinine and doing just careless, reckless things that could endanger others, people in general, you know, like parents who don't lock up their guns, kids that do drugs and bring back bad solicited parties and or groups of people, and or get involved with bad people, or do bad things involved within the family and their own property, like their firearms, their guns, their drinking, their alcohol, you know, screwing over mom and dad with the cards and insurance fraud, or whatever you want to get into. It's just really interesting to me that after all this time, for all the years, it's like people stop caring. We already know that stuff. It's old. It's numb. Let's just be numb to everything. Who cares? We're fine. It's not affecting me. It doesn't matter. It's kind of like the war in Ukraine, for example. And Putin, who doesn't really care, he's killing women and children. He's just more glorified. He's going to take back Ukraine. I'm sure he's not mentally well. No different than Donald Trump's any better, or Joe Biden, who clearly was not mentally well. So what did he do? He stepped the down. And thank you, Joe Biden, for doing it. You know how much hate people have for a man who survived 2 aneurysms, brain aneurysms, and he still ran through and ran our country, even if he was limping along and getting lost and trailing off, whatever. At least he didn't burn our country down, and at least he didn't sow into more divisions of hate and separation, which is where we're on a pathway right now to. And even more disturbingly, lower and lower IQs, and a lack of concern because right-wing extremists and, I don't know, Politicians want to keep pushing this rhetoric that our kids are apparently learning sexual inappropriate, just, by regurgitated nonsense in schools that's dangerous for kids to learn. So we're heading down a pretty bad path. And when I mean bad, I mean like between the hurricanes and earthquakes and or more importantly, hurricanes and tornadoes. The T word I don't like to say a lot, the tornado. Of course, I'm really lucky we don't have that around here right now where I live in Florida. But here I am stuck in a position where I've got no friends. I've been here for 8 years, and I was already born socially a little bit adept in the context that I don't just run around and try to meet people at bars and clubs and social gatherings. I'm an old soul. I was raised by a 1949, 1942 generation of people. We're raised from 1942, 1950s, so... Forgive me if I'm not like every other run-of-the-mill, but there's a lot of people like me that are older than me that have been through life longer, and they don't even have that many friends now or things to do. But a guy like me who's trying to live a life, live a future, I'm 34 years old, and I'm not even afraid of dying. I've never been to war, but I've already seen death so much, and so much hate, and so much disdain, and so much disrespect. Kind of makes me wonder, what am I going to get to live to see as I slowly see myself in my youth rotting away? Eroding, not like that Jim Carrey version of the movie where he was like eroding. It was a funny line. I forget the movie, but eroding. No, but me, I literally know in my age, I'm eroding. Why do I have to do everything on my own? Why can't there be somebody who's just like, hey, I don't want to be alone for the rest of my life. I want to be with somebody. Like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life getting old and feeble, hoping that my kids will turn around and be there for me when they grow up. Like, I won't even have kids. That's fine. Maybe I'll adopt. Maybe I'll raise my own, massive family of children and group or whatever. I got to do what I got to do to survive. But the thing is, what am I going to have to teach those kids? This world's filled with hate. Can't trust women, can't trust men. We're all the good people now. Kids are going to have to do what in their future? The kids I have to raise and teach and adapt. Teach them to be smart with their money, healthy with their diet and eating. Don't drink or smoke. You can drink in moderation, that's fine. Don't do stupid, reckless, careless, disregardable things, but try to have fun and definitely try to do things that are productive in education and learning and try to create a better world. But for some reason, our leaders and even our current population doesn't seem to think we're kind of teaching the rest of the world we don't really care. Think about that. It would be fun if we could actually go in and talk to our own Congress and government to warn them that half the stuff they're doing is literally giving the invite to everybody else to see how stupid we are in America. But apparently, the people fighting the good fight are being suppressed by all the ones who have all the money and all the power. So it's kind of hard to really know who's really on the good side and who's fighting for the good fight and who's really on the bad side and who's making all the problems. Me, on my side, I'm left with no other resolve but to literally go at this full pledge. I mean, there's nothing stopping me at this point. All my life, I thought, man, maybe I would just, I don't know, find somebody who didn't want to be rescued, just wanted to be happy. I hate the theory of a guy being called... was it the White Knight? Like, that's just ridiculous. You know how many women are just as socially damaged as many men? Men need White Knight or White Princesses as much as women need White Knights. I mean, it's there's so many women that have damaged men as much as there's many women who have been damaged by men. So it's a long story, but the theory is, my whole disbelief is that it was always the man who likely cheated on the woman, and that's what started it. Sorry, guys. I'm not sexist. I'm not against men, but it's guaranteed the man got distracted with his junk in his pants and literally cheated on his very first wife. And then the whole theory of who cheated on who first, who started the whole who did whoever wrong, that crap's been vexed for so many centuries and decades. It's ridiculous. And then it just got to the point where women were like, okay, you want to run off and cheat? Well, I'm going to go off and do this. And then it became a whole cycle, a vicious cycle. Where are the gender classes anymore? Oh, and then there's the opposite side of that. If you do anything, it's against the Lord. And I'll say that. I will not say his name. Or it's against Almighty. I will say that. I will not say his name because I have a lot of respect, and I'm certainly not, nor was I ever raised religious. So I'm just going to say it like it is. So the other factor is, as much as I'm on a small ramble here, with all this stuff on YouTube and videos, if you don't have enough money, clout, however it's pronounced, views, you're not going to get anywhere. I mean, come on. I mean, if one man could make a difference, if I could be something to be out there, to get the people incorporated, to get them rejuvenated and on the motion to make a difference, like, as if I don't already know there's not enough people trying that right now. I'm sure there is. And my gosh, I wish I could meet some of these people. There's things I wish I could be right now in this place and day and age to be and experience life. 34 years old, and I'm lucky to have what I got. I got a house, I got a car, I got a motorcycle. I got one dog who is just helpless without me. He's helpless. He's absolutely helpless. It's all the fault of being babied and talked to like a puppy all his life, and babied and babied and babied. He thought he could just do whatever he wanted, and now he can't live without humans. He's actually more defenseless than I don't know. I don't know what the best example would be. I mean, more defenseless than a bunny or a hare, because a lot of people call wild bunnies, but they're actually hares. If they're not domesticated, they're a hare. That's something I learned. A lot of people don't like to be told that. Yeah, but anyway, short summary is, as I jumble around with my ADD, not ADHD. Here's my thing. I deal with people who live in the same difficult situation, and they just don't have any respect for anybody else. Even the police in my area don't even respect me. They'll claim they respect people on their main page. I'm not going to mention names because I'm not trying to badmouth anybody per se. But even if somebody who's older than you, would-be known narcissist, calls the cops and claims you, the landlord, threatened him with a firearm, but you never did it, oh, they put you and make you put your hands up, and he laughs at this situation, hoping you get shot. You got to wonder what mentality goes through a person's mind, hoping a good person like me, who doesn't even try to be a bad person, doesn't even try to hurt other people. And you got people like that living in society every day. A would-be known narcissist who tries to set you up as a good, upstanding citizen, but doesn't really care and just wants to get you shot by the police. And the police don't even care. They're just more interested in hoping that you're the bad guy and you're going to do something stupid, so they have a reason to either put a hole in you or take you to jail. That's the kind of communities that we have right now. And that goes for African Americans too. I completely feel for all those of color. I really do. I'm so tired of people hating on African Americans and foreign races just because of the color of their skin or the way they wear their hair or the way they dress their clothes. This has got to stop. I mean, I still listen to music from back in the 90s that teaches that rhetoric of what's up with all the racism, what's up with all the hate. And the hate's still growing. The hate never disappears. That's why when Donald Trump took over, there was no surprise why our country was so angry. I mean, my gosh, we're living in a place filled with depression and multi-personal split personality disorders. Manic problems, depression, I already said depression, schizophrenia, the list goes on and on, okay? Bipolar, oh yes, but I'm not going to try to make fun of bipolar people because my best people I've ever met in my life were bipolar. Better than the weather in Florida, okay? And the bipolar swings. But point I'm getting at here as I finish this up and wrap this up, if I'm going to do segments, man, I need to get my own radio station. Signing out. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.